How's it going, my evil residents? Today we're going to take a look at Resident Evil 2 Remake and find out just how much plot armor Claire Redfield has. This is the 5th episode in a series, and we'll also cover Ada Wong at the end of the video. It is the second half of a double feature, with the first half being about Leon, linked to the card in the top right, but it can be enjoyed on its own if you don't want to watch that one, or if you don't like Leon, or if you don't want to watch any of the other videos in this series. Like I said, this one works totally fine on its own. We're going to tally up every time Claire should have died, her injuries, and how much it would cost in US dollars to treat said injuries. We will also be tallying every time a character survives something out of sheer luck, usually due to the writing of the game. I'll count these by giving out Chief tokens, which are named after the main character of the Halo series, Master Chief, because 1, his main trait is that he's lucky, and 2, I just really like Halo. I will be doing Claire B for this, and for the Leon video, I did Leon A, just so everyone is aware of the setup that I did for this video. It is, as far as I know, the most canon order of operations for the plot of this game, so it's the one I went with. I won't waste any more of your time. Let's get right into the video. Right at the beginning of the game, I gave Leon a Chief token for this too, but since Claire is also here, they survive all of these zombies because of this random car. I know it was probably the other sheriff's car. It's just there, it's open, it's on. That's very lucky. I mean, Leon's car is almost out of gas. They both won't fit on Claire's motorcycle, and plus it's out of the way. So they're just very lucky that it's here, that it's on, that it has enough gas, that it's open and unlocked. Yeah, they're just lucky all around. So yeah, Chief token for Claire. I also gave one to Leon, but giving one for Claire as well, since they're both here. Next up, I'm going to be charging Claire $15,000 because of this car crash. I charged Leon the same amount. I was going to charge a little more, but I'm not quite sure how fast the semi-truck is actually going, and she doesn't have the concussion whiplash of smashing her back into the car like Leon did, so I'm not going to charge her for that, just the $15,000 here for this car crash, and where she maybe would have had some head trauma, concussion, maybe some whiplash. So don't know specifically, so I'm going to lowball this a little bit at $15,000. I talked about this in the Leon video as well, but C4 doesn't work this way. C4 is a high-level explosive, which means that it explodes more at a molecular level and not as like an individual compound level. So its explosions are a lot more contained, but it makes big, weaker shockwaves with narrower, contained, very powerful explosions. Basically, the shockwaves have a shorter fall-off, if that makes sense. They kind of like video game shotgun versus real-life shotgun. How you're picturing that meme is how high-grade explosion versus low-grade explosion works. It's all very complicated, but all you need to know is that C4 doesn't work this way, and it would most likely quote-unquote cut the area around where the C4 is actually placed. It wouldn't blow all of these iron bars off the wall like this, so Claire's getting a Chief token for this, much like Leon did. Here's the Chief token. Next up, after fighting Birkin, Claire's lucky that Sherry was there to drop the letter for her. That's it. That's the Chief token. I know. Leon got the same one. It's almost like these scenarios are very similar, and Capcom dropped the ball on the A and B scenarios. I'm giving Claire another Chief token because she never would have been told where Sherry was to go get Sherry if Sherry didn't drop the pendant during this whole struggle here, meaning she would have had no lead on where Sherry is and likely died wandering the city trying to find her, because there's not really any evidence in the RPD of where Chief Irons took Sherry. I mean, she would probably assume it's somewhere nearby, but she would have no idea where to go. If she goes even in the wrong direction, she could wander in like a random horde of zombies and die. No idea what would happen. That's a whole can of worms I don't even want to open. That's like alternate timeline bullshit. But I'm just going to give a Chief token here because this is the only reason Chief Irons contacted her to tell her where he took Sherry. So yeah, it's getting a Chief token. After this, I'm going to give Claire a Chief token because Mr. X doesn't camp or basically trap her in the clock tower room, and he doesn't enter it for seemingly no reason other than gameplay. I gave Leon a Chief token for this, and since the scenarios are suspiciously, annoyingly similar, Claire gets one as well. Next up, Claire gets her first death and is charged funeral expenses. She should have died in this falling elevator. Sherry should have too, but I'm not really covering Sherry in this video. She probably just would have gotten like 2 or 3 deaths, a couple of chief tokens, if you were curious. But, yeah, I think this elevator falling would have most certainly killed Claire, and I'm going to charge $7,000 in funeral expenses. This is the average I charge for pretty much everyone, because this is the average cost of a funeral without insurance or any other sort of coverage. So yeah, $7,000 right here. Also, after this, I'm charging a chief token because Birkin just leaves. He just leaves. It's well established by this point that he's like a little too far gone to understand what's going on. So, and he just leaves. Why? Chief token? And then shortly after this, well, not shortly, a whole section later, at the end of the section, I charged Leon funeral expenses for this as well, so I'm going to charge Claire. It's only fair. It's only fair. They have no way to expect Birkin slamming his very sharp, very dangerous claw through the ceiling and into their head. So, pretty sure this would kill them with how fast he strikes and stuff like that. So I'm charging funeral expenses here. I think they should have died literally right here. I know it's like an anticlimactic way to die for them, but I straight up, I think they would have died. If you don't like it, tell me in the comments. Charging $7,000 right here. Next up, Claire is lucky all of the materials for this section were readily available and fabricatable, especially that the liquid was just in the mixer, ready to be put in the right dose to be able to get the level 3 pass. And I didn't mention this in the Leon video since it was the scenario I played first, but I'm going to mention it here. This stuff should already be empty when the other person gets here. I'm not quite sure why the stuff like auto refilled, why the power turned back off, stuff like that. I know the A and B scenarios are just like poorly done and kind of slapped together, but it makes some really aggravating plot holes for videos like this. And there's another video I'm working on where it becomes a huge issue too. I might end up just making a video about what is most likely canon, because stuff like this is just so annoying, and I really wish they fleshed out these A and B scenarios better. Because why does the power turn back off? I'm assuming Leon just leaves the MERV thing somewhere, and then the machine, which was clearly emptied of all of its liquid, just has more liquid in it for the dispersing of the agent, and those plants regrew in like 10 minutes. That's insane. Claire's getting a chief token here because Leon got one, but honestly, you could just decide who this chief token goes to and assume that it was just done for the other person. Kind of depends on your interpretation of the story, so either they both get one or one of them gets one. Honestly, up to you. Feel free to subtract 1 or 2 from each of their sides, but I'm giving Claire a chief token here because Leon got one.
Stupid thing's locked. Hold on. Sherry, what are you? I think I can open it from the other side.
Next up, when Claire and Sherry are running away during the self-destruct timer, Claire is very lucky that there's a child-sized vent right next to them for Sherry to walk through. This unlocks it for Leon, and since it's part of the plot, I'm not going to give Leon one directly, but I will give Claire one because they are the ones that ran into it first. And last but certainly not least, Claire doesn't get chief token because rocket launcher, she gets chief token because minigun. Why is it here? I have no idea. Is it cool that it's here? Absolutely. Is Claire with a minigun badass? Absolutely. Is it getting a chief token? Absolutely. That's going to do it for Claire. Her totals are a lot more reasonable than pretty much any Resident Evil protagonist that we have covered so far, literally any of them, with 9 chief tokens, a total of $29,000 in medical fees, and 2 deaths. That's incredible. As far as Resident Evil protagonists go, she's the most reasonable, most level, most realistic character of all of them. She does almost as much as Leon does, but does it in a less ridiculous way. That's awesome. Like, Claire's just the best. And if you compare this to Leon's numbers, honestly, it's surprising that the A and B scenarios are so similar, but Leon goes through so much more shit. Like, how? I don't understand how the scenarios can be so similar, yet come out with such different results. I didn't expect this at all, but it's really fascinating. And so this video isn't literally 5 minutes long. I am also going to talk about Ada, plus we went over Ada in the RE4 Separate Ways DLC, so I think it is fair to add up what Ada went through here and just kind of talk about and combine them and compare them with the other 2 protagonists.
Do you hear me? Play the fucking beat!
I'm gonna count this as 2 chief tokens for Ada. 1, Leon's presence in the game is going to earn her a chief token, because Leon does her entire job for her. He takes the brunt of the stuff Ada should have taken and should have faced, like Mr. X to get the parking garage keycard. Ada should have done that. If Leon wasn't there, Ada would have had to do that. Fighting the alligator, Ada should have had to do that. Fighting Birkin at least 2 times, Ada should have had to do that. And if the scenario is to play out pretty similar, just without Leon there, she would have had to fight Mr. X without someone to give her the rocket launcher, meaning she likely would have died. I don't know exactly how many chief tokens to give out for this, so I'm just going to give out 3. If you feel like it should be more, should be less, feel free to add more or less, but that's ridiculous. I think that's ridiculous. So she gets 3 chief tokens for this, and that doesn't count any of the other chief tokens that she's going to get. She gets 3 chief tokens just for Leon being there and doing her fucking job for her. I'm also going to give her a chief token here because of the EMF visualizer, and where's she keeping it? Where was that? I don't see a bag. I don't see any sort of pockets in that dress. Where was it? Where did it come from? Trash furnaces can get up to 2,000 degrees. And I know it wouldn't heat up that fast in like the 30 seconds to a minute that you're in here, but it would most likely either melt her shoes or give her like 2nd degree burns on her feet or something like that. And she would most likely need burn ointment, and burn ointment is about $12 plus field dressing. So I'm charging her $12. I'm going to be petty like that. I'm charging her $12 because it's funny, okay? It's funny, so I'm going to do it $12. Next up, when Annette swings the machine thing at her, she falls 2 to 3 stories onto unknown trash. She could have fallen onto a pile of thrown away pillows, cotton balls, blankets, and sunshine. She could have fallen onto broken glass and bricks. We don't really know, so I kind of lowballed the price for this. Plus, she gets stabbed horribly with this giant piece of metal. I'm gonna assume that it didn't hit an artery, and that's why she didn't bleed out. So $25,000. I think that's a low ball. She could charge more. It kind of depends what she fell on, and she would also need to be treated for an infection for the piece of metal because it's in a sewer in a trash compactor area. Yeah, $25,000. I think that's a pretty safe number. If you want to charge more, go for it. If you want to charge less, fine. This is about an average for all the stuff that likely happened to her. And right after this, Ada gets a chief token because Leon saves her from the trash compactor / trash chute area. Not really totally sure what this area is. Sewer trash room. It is the sewer trash room, and Leon saves her from it.
Leon, I don't want to hurt you.
And you shoot me. But I don't think you can.
Next up, at the end of the game, because Ada's out of the game for most of the game, because, you know, she gets freaking stabbed in the leg by this giant piece of metal, I'm charging her $80,000 for this gunshot. You know why? Because I feel like it. That's why. I charged Leon the same amount for exactly the same gunshot. I know I added physical therapy and recoil trauma, but she does have to escape Raccoon City after this. I'm assuming she would be shooting her gun and having to climb up stuff and stuff like that. So I'm just going to keep the same amount, $80,000. And right after this, she falls down this giant pit. Who knows how deep this pit is? You cannot even see the bottom of it. How deep is this pit? She lives. How does she live? I don't know. I'm charging funeral expenses because she should have died. This should have killed her. She should not be in any other Resident Evil game, but she just is. She shouldn't be in the game a little bit later to give Leon the frickin' kablooey. Why? How does she live? $7,000. I'm not going to go on a rant about this. $7,000. I'm charging it right now. Last, but most certainly not least, how did she escape Raccoon City? She had like 5 minutes to escape, like 5 or 10 minutes, tops. No, she had 10 minutes because it happened before the timer started. So yeah, she had 10 minutes to escape Raccoon City, and it took Hunk. How long does it take speedrunners to get from the sewer to the RPD? Let's say Ada did get a helicopter rescue, and she took about the same path that Hunk did in 4th Survivor to get back up to the surface. That is the most direct path. The average speedrun time for 4th Survivor is about 7 minutes. Haha, funny Resident Evil amount of time. And plus like the 5 or 10 minute cable car ride. I don't think Ada would have been able to make it up there that fast. Plus, she's injured in her leg. She can't really run, and she got shot, and she just has a handgun, whereas Hunk had freaking a whole Fortnite inventory of weapons. There's no way. There's no way she would have survived. I know she's a super spy, but first of all, she has like leg karate attacks that she does. She can't do those right now. She has like no freaking ammo, no place to put the ammo because she just has her dress on. She doesn't have any sort of bag or anything unless she suitcases her ammo like she did with the EMF visualizer. She wouldn't have survived. She's getting a chief token, and it's just, I don't understand. Why didn't Capcom fix this for the remake? I know I've been ranting about this for so freaking long. It just infuriates me. They could have fixed this. They could have shown like a little cutscene of her getting on the back of the train that Claire, Leon, and Cherry escaped on. They could have shown her on the helicopter with Hunk. Just something. They could have shown something, and they chose not to. They chose to keep it vague, and it makes no sense. And I'm going to stop ranting about this now. So just charge the chief token. I'm done.
That just makes no fucking sense. I mean, it's just bullshit. Fuck. Oh.
Now I know what you're thinking. The video's over, right? No, that's not all the survivors of Raccoon City, my friend. There is one more survivor of Raccoon City. The fourth survivor, if you will.
Hunk, time's up.
Go, Nighthawk. Get out.
I'm not gonna just leave you.
I'm going to give Hunk 3 chief tokens for his time in Raccoon City. I'm going to give him the first one for being the only survivor against Birkin's initial mutation of the G-Virus. They had no idea what to expect. It was him and I believe Ramirez? Unless I have Modern Warfare 2 Ramirez get to the Burger Town brain rot. I think that's his name. They're the only 2 initial survivors of Birkin's initial mutation. And then Hunk survives the sewers and the RPD on his escape, being totally overrun by zombies, like more so than Leon or Claire ever saw in any of these locations, with IVs and more liquors and all that stuff, plus a brand new tyrant. They deployed like a 3rd tyrant apparently. Hunk survives all of this with no extra supplies because Claire and Leon took them all, those greedy bastards. So he gets another chief token for that, and then he gets a 3rd chief token because Nighthawk comes back for Hunk despite being ordered specifically not to. They literally wrote an explanation for him to survive. That is literally the point of the chief token, so he gets a 3rd chief token for that. Hunk walks away with no injuries, no should-be deaths because he's just that skilled. He proves that, but they do specifically write the game around him being able to survive, so he gets 3 chief tokens for each of the 3 times that I think that he would have died if the game wasn't specifically written for him to survive. So yeah, I just wanted to add a little bonus section at the end here because Hunk is badass, and I know someone in the comments would be like, Hunk is epic, and you should have talked about Hunk. This is me talking about Hunk because he's epic, okay? So you can save your comment now. Taking a look at all of these numbers, comparing Ada's numbers in this game to her numbers in RE4 is honestly ridiculous because her medical bills are way lower. $112,000 plus that other $12. So it's pretty good. That's a lot lower than it was in Resident Evil 4 Remake, where she had over $700,000 in medical bills. She had 6 chief tokens just in Resident Evil 2 alone, and in Resident Evil 4 Remake, she had 12. So she had about half the screen time in this game as she did in Resident Evil 4. Probably a little less, but I think that honestly adds up. It's about consistent with how she is later, aside from just the fact that she literally survives a hundreds and hundreds of foot fall. Why? I don't know. And she had 1 would-be death, which was said fall, whereas in Resident Evil 4 Remake, Ada had 5 should-be deaths. The numbers kind of add up for me. Yeah, it's pretty interesting. I don't know. Not that much to say about it. The numbers add up. I think they do at least. And then Hunk is just Hunk. He's just built different. That's all I got to say about that. I will put all of the totals for all of the main characters that we have covered on the screen right now, with Leon, then Claire, then Ada, and then I will also throw Hunk on here just because why not? Hunk just needs to look like a top G next to all these idiots with no medical bills and no should-be deaths. He's just a chat. So I got to put him here as like the control study of sorts. You know what I mean? But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you very much for watching. If you liked it, feel free to drop a like. If you disliked it, feel free to dislike it. But do please leave a comment letting me know why so I can make sure my videos are as good as possible. We do also have channel memberships up on the channel. If you'd like to support me more directly, I would greatly appreciate it. Obviously, you don't have to. Don't feel pressured to. We do also have a Discord if you want to talk about this video more directly with other residents. If you want to LFG with other residents, play Resident Evil, other games, whatever you feel like. or you just want to post stupid memes and make sure that I see them, feel free to join the Discord. It would be awesome to see you there. I think that's going to do it for this video. Thank you very much for watching, and if you want to check out this entire series, this is a playlist on my channel. Feel free to go check it out and binge all of those. Let me know what plot armor video you want to see next, and yeah, that's going to do it for this video. Stay evil, my residents.